Welcome back to another session with me, Fred Gleeck, and I'm always talking about equity, specifically dynamic equity. But the election period here really made me think about a few things. It's about 8 years ago now, because it was right before the 2016 election. I was working with someone, or trying to work with someone, who was an elected official. This individual had won statewide office. I won't say which specific state because he may not be happy with what I'm about to say. So he came to me, and I thought to myself, wow, this is pretty interesting. This particular individual had won 11 consecutive races in his state. And I thought to myself, that's pretty damn impressive. Maybe he and I can get together and partner, which is always my key word when working in equity, partner together to create a program to show people who were running for public office how to increase their chances of winning, which of course is what every politician wants to do. Is once they start running, they want to win the race, and once they win, they want to win repeatedly and keep winning and keep that office. So he had a program specifically on how to do this, and I said, well, let's do this together. So my suggestion was, let's do a 50-50 split, which is my typical arrangement and the arrangement that I suggest you do with anyone when you are starting with them from scratch. If they already have an ongoing business, then it might be less than 50%. But when someone is starting from scratch, I think it's perfectly reasonable for you to say, after expenses, let's split the revenue. If I'm the expert on the process of putting information products together, and if you're the expert on that specific topic. So I suggested this split to him. The timing was perfect. It was about 4 or 5 months before the election. And I said, boy, this is going to be a race and an election that will have a lot of people very interested in winning their seats or keeping their seats. So after a lot of reflection, this particular individual got back to me and said no, and then suggested that somehow my idea of splitting this 50-50 wasn't fair. And my first thought was, wait a second, I know marketing and process, you know the topic, I think it's a perfectly fair split. Now, because I've been doing this for a while, quite a while, 40 plus years, I said, I really think that I deserve to get 50% of the net. And he said no. Well, come the election, and now it's over 8 years later, I'd like to just review for a second and have you think about this with people that you might be dealing with. What percentage or what total amount of total revenue, did he receive from our venture? It's kind of a trick question, but he got nothing, zero. And I got nothing and would have been happy to have split the revenue with him, but apparently for him, 100% of nothing was greater than, and I'm running out of space here, was greater than 50% of something. I'm going to abbreviate that, something. I think that's a really, really bad way to think. Because number one, the information that he had was excellent. It was powerful. It would have helped a lot of people win their elections or keep their seats in the election that we were dealing with. But instead, this individual decided that he was going to try, and he didn't even want to, I guess there was some degree of negotiation, but he just was turned off by the fact that I wanted 50%. I thought it was perfectly reasonable. So our little lesson here, if there is one, is that 50% of something is a whole lot better than 100% of nothing, and you should keep that in mind as you do your negotiating, and always remember, do it in the form of an equity partnership.